Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome to another edition of the Unstoppable Podcast with Ralph Graves Jr. Now, guys, listen, I say at the outset of every podcast, and every time you look at this on YouTube or listen on Spotify, I know you could be listening to anybody else. I realize you could be spending your time with anyone. So the fact of the matter that you're listening to this podcast, it means so much to me, and I just want to say thank you. At the time of this recording, it's New Year's Eve, 2020, and so I wanted to get a recording in, the last recording of the year, and this guest is making history. He's the last recording of 2020, but it's important that I introduce him to you. If you want to talk about elevation and growth, if you want to talk about being unstoppable, we have Kevin Knox on here today. Coach Kevin Knox, how you doing, man?
Hey, man. I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here, man.
Welcome, man. Welcome to the Ralph Graves Jr. Show, man. The Unstoppable Podcast with Ralph Graves Jr. So glad to have you here, man. How has your year been, man? We're going to dive into what you're doing, but overall 2020, how's it been for you? All the other foolishness aside, all the other stuff that we're going through globally aside, how has it been for you?
It has been my most challenging year, but as challenging as it has been a year where it taught me my strengths.
Right.
You know, in the midst of where I thought I was weak, I found where I was actually strong, where I had to learn how to improvise in this season and learn how to adjust with the times, with the virtual learning and stuff like that. So for me, it sucked, but it came out to my benefit because what I thought was going to actually break me actually made me better. So I mean, I have no complaints, you know, so.
Yeah. Well, man, listen, you said a mouthful in the beginning, challenges. It challenged us, and challenges makes us grow. Challenges make us grow. They morph those who want to be morphed into something stronger and greater. They do that, man. So, hey, I'm glad that you are surviving the challenges. I'm glad that you are doing and being the best that you can be, man. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So, man, first thing we got to talk about, you have a brand new book that dropped today.
Yes.
I just want to put that out there today. I usually wait till the end, but let's talk about that book right now today, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Give us the title, man. What's the title of that book?
The name of the book is Stop Existing, Start Living: How to Overcome Your Fears and Live Out Your Dreams.
Wow. Yeah. Tell us about it, man. Tell me, what drove you to drive? And this is book number 5 for you, right? Something like that?
Yes, okay. It is.
So where'd this book come from? Where was it birthed? How'd you birth this book, man?
Yeah, so as a life coach, you know, I come across many clients that's looking to, one, discover their purpose, overcome life's challenges, and they want to achieve their desired goals, which is commonly like they want to live out their purpose, live out their dreams. And I've learned that there's one common thing that stops people from getting from where they are to where it is that they want to be. And that is fear, because that's what I had. You know, I was alive, I was breathing, but I realized I never was really living, you know? And so it's an old movie from back in the day called The Sixth Sense, and it's famous for this line.
Stop right there. Stop. I hate when you young cats try to tell me that a movie's old. Back in the day.
I mean, it was 1996. I
remember it was like it was yesterday, man.
It was 96. It was 96.
It's an old vintage movie. In 96, I was married and 3 children. But it's an old vintage movie. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll let you
well, in that movie, it was, he said, it's known for a very well-known line, "I see dead people." Right. And when you look out into the world, you can see people that they're alive and they're breathing, but in a way you see they're dead on the inside because it's this thing, fear, that's holding them back from really pursuing their dreams and their goals. And so it was when my grandmother was the one who encouraged me. She said, "Kevin, why do you walk in the shoes of the opinions of others when you can freely walk in the shoes of your greatness?" You know? And when she said that, it was something in me that just triggered. And I took the time I wanted to get to know fear. I wanted to study fear. I wanted to know what it was about it that was keeping me hostage. And so I learned how to overcome it. And now I put this book out to teach other people how they could overcome it so they could live out their dreams as I am today.
Man, that's awesome, man. And they can find that anywhere, Barnes & Noble. Where can they get that?
Yes. The book is wherever books are sold. primarily, I have a special offer where if you purchase it from my website, which is coachknox.com, you also get a free course to come along with it. So, yeah.
Very good. Very good. And what's the name of the book again? Tell them one more time.
Stop Existing, Start Living, How to Overcome Your Fears and Live Out Your Dreams.
Man, that's awesome, man. It's exciting, man. So, man, it's the Unstoppable Podcast, man. Let me ask you a couple questions, man. What does it look like or mean, or what does it look like to you, or what does it mean? What does being unstoppable mean to you, man? Coach Kevin Knox, he's unstoppable, man.
I would say, man, when it comes to being unstoppable, it's just, life may have the ability to knock you down with all it had, but it did not have the capability to knock you out. It's having the mindset that knockdowns are a part of life, not the ending of it, And I believe it also is learning that strength does not come from what you can overcome. It comes from what you thought you couldn't. And the fact that you are still here every day is a reminder that you are unstoppable, So that's how I look at it for myself.
Man, to really achieve, man, a man or woman must have perseverance. We talked about the challenges at the onset of the podcast. We talked about persevering. People think that you just wake up and write a book overnight. We both know that that's not the case. We know that we have to persevere. What's the process of perseverance like for you?
For me, it was, everyone's different. But I can speak from my perspective, some people, when they go through difficult times or challenging times, they run to substances or whatever it may be. Some people don't. Some people go to the gym and work out. For me, I get pen and paper and I write, and one of the things about writing, the principle of writing is so awesome because it frees up your thoughts as well as it helps you deal with inner conflicts.
Sure.
And for me, it was like a therapeutic process for me. And so in doing that, there would be times that I would just write down my pain. I would write down my hurt. And if I be honest with you, in the midst of, this is how I developed my perseverance. In the midst of me writing down what I've been through, I realized that there's tons of other people who got it worse. My grandma always said, always be thankful because there's someone that's always got it worse than you. And I'm like, well, if I feel this way. And the one thing that my grandma deposited in me was faith. And there's some people that don't have no faith. And I realized, it's bigger than me. My purpose is bigger than me. I don't go through what I go through just to go through it. I go through it to be a blessing to somebody else, And so that's what, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say the perseverance part comes from this unselfishness that I have where I want to be a blessing to someone because this pain that I've experienced, I don't know. God just wired me a certain way where it's like my purpose is to help other people keep pushing, help other people keep going. And so in so I guess in short, my perseverance comes from my purpose, So
good, man. That's awesome. Perseverance comes from your purpose, man. And I think a lot of people really need to know that, man. How did you find your purpose? That's, I pastor a church and I say this, and if you're listening to this Unstoppable podcast, that I pastor a church. I'm a believer. That I've been pastoring 15 years. I've been preaching over almost 27 years. And to Kevin, that's ancient. Because evidently he saw the Sixth Sense in black and white. I know we pursue this purpose, and people say, I want to find my purpose. And I know that the closer I get with Christ, I don't find purpose. Purpose is revealed. God reveals his purpose to me after presentation, after transformation, then he gives me his revelation. And so what was that process for you of God revealing his purpose to you? How did God pull back the veil, pull back the curtain and says, Kevin, Coach Kevin, this is going to be the purpose that I did. This is the purpose I have for you. Like, talk to me about that. How'd that occur for you, man?
Well, one, I've been walking in purpose my whole life. I just didn't know it. The reason why I was frustrated, like everybody, that's because many people were seeking our purpose. We get frustrated because like, oh, I can't find it. And you'll never find it because it's you. Like most people never find their purpose because they're out searching for it.
Right.
You are purpose. You were created. Like purpose is the reason why something was created or done. You really just got to get to know you. So when I say I was doing it this whole time, I'll give you a story. I remember, well, back in high school, anybody that knows me know I talk, man. And sometimes, like, you know, I've been blessed with the gift of gab, and sometimes it can get me in trouble. Right. Well, when I was younger, it was. Yeah. And I remember I used to get kicked out of class all the time, like always, all the time. And one time I was with my guidance counselor, my mom, and we were talking like, what is my next steps for college? And they actually gave bad news that I wasn't going to be able to go to the schools that I wanted to. And unfortunately, my mom, you know, we didn't have the greatest relationship at that time. And she said, I told you wasn't going to make it. I know you wasn't going to do this. You was dumb and you stupid. So I come from a lot of turmoil of my mom saying, yo, you're dumb, you're stupid. And I was too young to understand that she had trauma of her own, right? Sure. My guidance counselor in that moment said, it's okay, Miss Deb, because when Kev get in the real world, he going to make it. We both looked at her and said, and she said, and I said, how? She said, because you could talk. Yeah. I said, well, talking just got me kicked out of class. So I want to know how I'm going to make it. And she said, you're just using your gift prematurely. Yeah. And so what happened was I would notice how, like, you know, I would be like the life of the party. I would come in and I would spark people just with making them laugh, encouraging them, talking to them. But how I really, really came in contact with my purpose is that I actually would always begin to receive like these revelations and these thoughts and these analogies. And I remember I would go to my old pastor, Horace Pritchett, and I would tell him, hey, man, I got this, this thought that came to my mind. I don't know what it is. And then he would just, hey, I want you to go up in front of the people and speak it. And I would go. And then people would just, and a woman came to her name was Mother Lawson. She came to me. She said, Kevin, you have a gift. You have a way of being able to break down the word for people to understand it, and where a child can understand it, you know? And I didn't know that was purpose. I just thought that I was just doing what I've been doing my whole life, just talking. Sure. And the whole time talking was what helped me be a blessing to other people, and encouraging them.
Sure. Man, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah. Talk to me, man, about one of your greatest moments, man. Like you speak, I speak, and we have some great moments on stage. And what are some of what's one of your favorite stories you like to tell?
Oh man, I got a lot. I would say, I think one of the biggest things that I love is when you're on stage and like you really got that focus where everyone's locked in. Yeah. And it's like tunnel vision, you know? Yeah. And it's like, you know, it's almost like as if you're up there and it's like it's not you anymore. It's like you blank out and it's just flowing. And to see people blessed and see people transformed, and it's just like, oh snap. Like you sometimes I think because we're in this field, this is what we do. So we're used to it. But to someone else, like if you say, hey man, listen, knockdowns are a part of life, not the ending of it. We say a quote like that. We're used to being around that personal development space. Right. But to someone who's really going through it, it means the world to them. So it's like, you know, for me, every moment is special to me because it's an honor. You know, I mean, this is the greatest honor in the world to be before people. So it's hard to pick just one, but I just love when people are locked in, focused, and God's just blessing me to do what I do, man.
I always ask this question to all my guests, man, because we're always learning. What are you learning now? What are you learning now? What are you learning right now? What has been like it doesn't have to be a wow moment, but what are you learning about yourself, about the industry, about your calling? What are you learning right now, Kev?
That I have to trailblaze my own path. Yeah. Because, you know, purpose is not popular. That's the biggest thing that I'm learning in this season. You know, I'm a man of faith, man. So like, you know, the biggest teacher I study is Jesus, you know, as he walked in his purpose, it wasn't popular. There were a lot of haters that came across it. And there's this rapper I love. His name is Andy Mineo. And he has a quote. He says, when I talk about Jesus, everybody love me. But when I act like him, everybody hate me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so when you are being authentic and you are really walking in your purpose and you doing what you created, called to do, it's going to rub some people the wrong way. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I've been blessed to get to some heights that I never even thought I'd be able to get to. And I was met with gatekeepers, unfortunately. And I found myself in a lot of Saul David moments. However, I realized that although there are gatekeepers, God has many, many gates. That's the cool part about it.
Yeah, now, man, them gatekeepers can't keep you out if God sent you there, man. Take it from this old dog, man. They can't keep you out.
Man. And but you know what's crazy? I used to compare myself to a lot of people out, and I don't know why. It's just, I guess, just natural. We all kind of do it. But in this season, what I've been learning, man, is to trailblaze my own path, man, and just like believe, like, what God has for me is for me, and that's been the greatest. Going back to what my grandma said, walk in the shoes of your greatness, not the irrelevant opinions of others.
Yeah, let me go back to that comparison thing, man. It's the biggest waste of time, and it will drive you crazy. The comparison trap is a horrible place to be. You are one of a kind. There's nothing you can compare yourself to. There's no one you can compare yourself to. So your grandmom had it right. God made us individuals, man.
Yeah.
And you're right. Sometimes we can look at the same people in our industry with whatever we're doing. But I often tell people, Nike's not worried about Adidas. Or Puma, they just run their own race, and so just keep running your race, man. And everybody listen, keep running your race.
Like there will be people who do what we do, but can't nobody do you like you,
Yeah, and your audience really is not going to hear anybody but you anyway.
Exactly.
Understand that your audience will be in tuned to your voice.
Absolutely.
But you keep on doing what you're doing, man. Before I wrap this up, man, we talked about the greatest lesson you learned and what are you learning now, man. I think people are really growing from that, man. How have you handled? All of us are going to handle a failure or setback. Give me an example of how you handled a failure. What would you tell one of your clients? What would you tell my listeners who are going through a setback right now? How should they handle this setback or this failure?
Oh man, rejoice, get excited when and they'd be like, what do you mean? Because listen, when it is your faith that must always pass the test of discouragement, right? And so when we get faced with a test, I get excited because that's opportunity to graduate to the next level in your life. See, you cannot have success without failure. It's a part of the process. And I look at it like this. I remember when I would be in school and I'll be taking a test or something like that. The teacher would come hover over me and she said, try again. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's her telling me, like, in a way I failed. That's not the right answer. And then I go, say, that's not it. And what happens is it looks like I'm failing and it could be discouraging, or I could look at it from another perspective. I'm getting closer to the right answer. The more you fail, the more you find out what doesn't work. So you can actually begin to find out what does work, And I look at failure. Some people see it as a negative thing. Failure is just opportunity to try again with experience,
Okay. Very good. Man, listen, tell us again how to get your book. What are the other 4 books you've written? Can they get those off your website? How can we find you? How can we get your books and your content?
So anything reference my books, my albums, and all that I do, you can visit me online at coachknox.com, or you can follow me on all social media platforms at Coach K Knox.
CoachKKnox.com, everybody, or following at Coach K Knox. He's everywhere. Man, thank you so much for being on this program. Thank you for being on Unstoppable Podcast, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So glad to have you on here, man. This will not be the last time. I thank God for your energy. Thank God for your insight and your input, man. And guys, go out and support. Go out and become a part of his audience, part of his team. Find out what he has to offer, because I guarantee you he has something to offer you that will bless your life. Coach Kev, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you, listeners, for listening to the podcast. Once again, you could be listening to anybody, but you are listening to me. So we're going to close out the year like that. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful new year. Take care of yourselves in each and every way, as I will continue to take care of myself. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful new year, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.